I swear, that scream still lives in my head. Even now, 5 years later, it still rings inside my ears like a church bell. It was around 2:13 a.m. I remember because my small Nokia phone lit up beside my bed when the scream shook our whole block. At first, I thought it was a car crash outside. But no, the scream was from inside our own compound, from flat 2B. Mama Kemi's flat. I sat up fast, sweating already even though there was no nipple light and the fan was dead. My room was small, with walls so thin you could hear a rat cough from next door. I heard footsteps, slippers slapping the corridor. Then, another scream, louder this time, like somebody was being dragged down into hell. I rushed to the door, careful to stay quiet. Other neighbors were already peeping too. I could see shadows, noses poking out of doors, and whispering prayers. Mama Kemi. Jesus. God I beg. I tiptoed to the small space between my door and the wall and looked out. Mama Kemi's door was wide open. Inside, I saw something that still makes my chest tight when I think about it. She was standing half naked in the middle of her parlor, wrapper fallen to the floor. But it was not the nakedness that shocked me. No, we've all seen accidental things before. It was the thing standing behind her. Something like a man, but too tall. Its head touched the ceiling, neck bent like someone forced into a room too small. It wore the plumber's uniform, the blue jumpsuit we all saw him wear during the day, but the body inside that cloth was wrong. Too thin at the arms, too fat at the belly, and legs that bent the wrong way. Mama Kemi was screaming but not moving. Like something was holding her from behind. She tried to lift her arms, but they flopped uselessly, like they belonged to somebody else. Behind me, I heard Mr. Alukomota, "No wetin she dey find she don't see." Another neighbor whispered, "She don't cross her boundary." Nobody moved to help her. Nobody even dared to shout. We all just watched, stuck, like flies trapped in honey. The thing behind her leaned close to her ear. Its mouth was long, like a trumpet, and it whispered something. I couldn't hear, but I swear the walls of the parlor shook when it spoke. Mama Kemi dropped to her knees. She started crawling on all fours, like a goat. Her voice changed too, deeper, like a man trying to talk through a blocked nose. She was crying but laughing at the same time. I shut my door fast, my heart banging like it would burst. That night, nobody slept. By morning, when we had the courage to peep again, the parlor was empty. The door still stood wide open. The husband's car was parked outside, door flung open too, but he, Mama Kemi, and the plumber, all gone. Gone. Some people say they ran away. Some say the thing we saw dragged them to somewhere under the ground. Me. I know what I saw that night. And I pray to God every night never to see it again. Before everything went bad, if you asked anybody in our compound who had the best life, everybody would point at Mama Kemi. She was beautiful in a way that made even women stop and look. Light-skinned like bread soaked in milk, with hips that moved like they had their own mind. She always tied the tightest wrappers, wore the loudest perfume, and laughed like she owned the whole street. Her husband, Mr. Cole, was a rich trader. He dealt in motor parts at Ladipo Market, and they said he made money in dollars. He wasn't around much, though. Sometimes he would stay 2 or 3 months without stepping foot in the house. Business trips, they said. But nobody pitied Mama Kemi. Instead, people envied her. She had a big plasma TV before anybody else in the compound even had a flat screen. She changed hairstyles every Saturday. Brazilian hair today, Ghana weaving tomorrow. She wore gold bangles that made soft music when she moved her hands. Her nails were always long, painted red or gold. Fresh pedicure every 2 weeks. Every Sunday, when we gathered for compound meeting, Mama Kemi would sit on her plastic chair like she was sitting on a throne. Even the landlord's wife, Madam Grace, would grind her teeth in anger but smile fake smiles at her. And the way she cooked. Every evening, the smell of fried stew, smoked turkey, and fresh pounded yam would float out of her kitchen and torture the rest of us eating EBA and egusi with more water than soup. Sometimes, she would even come out and joke, "This compound smells like poverty." And laugh that loud laugh of hers, flashing her white teeth. Nobody liked her. But everybody wanted to be her. Well, almost everybody. Except Madame Ifeoma from Flat 3C. Madame Ifeoma used to whisper to anybody who would listen, "Too much light they attract spirit. When you two dey show body, one day no spirit go come collect am." We thought it was jealousy. Pure envy. Until the plumber came. The first time I saw the plumber, it was around 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. I was coming back from Mama Folek's shop with a sachet of pure water. The plumber was at the side of the building, fixing something under the big water tank. Young boy. Maybe 24 or 25. Face smooth like a new leather shoe. Eyes sharp like a blade. Muscles everywhere, his blue jumpsuit zipped down to the middle of his chest. He was whistling some song, Omo Pasta, GBA control, and moving his waist small while he walked. Women, even married ones, kept passing by that side for no reason. And guess who was sitting by the window, pretending to pluck beans? Mama Kemi. She called him Small Plumber that day, laughing and throwing a sachet of cold water at him. He caught it. He winked. Right there, the story started. At first, it was small things. The plumber would come on Saturdays, even when there was no work. He would fix broken taps, leaking toilets, and bad shower heads, things that were not even spoiled. Sometimes, he would stay inside her flat for 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes, he would leave sweating, shirt hanging loose, trousers zipped halfway down. People began to talk. Even the children. Even the housemates. Some nights, you would hear giggles coming from Mama Kemi's window around 1 a.m. Giggles that didn't sound like TV noise. Giggles that sounded real. And her husband, Mr. Ko. Still gone. Still sending money and buying iPhones for her from far away. If people talked, Mama Kemi didn't care. She started looking even fresher. New handbags. New slippers. New perfumes. She would walk past us in the morning, wrapper tied high, no bra, chest bouncing like she was daring the whole world to talk. And the plumber. He started walking with swagger, greeting people with his head held high, like he had just collected a national award. But some things started going wrong too. Madame Grace's baby, who always played near Flat 2B, started falling sick every time he crawled close to Mama Kemi's door. Small coughs at first. Then body fever. Then seizures. One day, the boy was rushed to the hospital. He never came back alive. People said it was normal. Nigeria is hard. Children die. But Madame Ifeoma shook her head and said, "Wetin dey chop banana no dey allow banana see am." Nobody listened. Until the day somebody saw Mama Kemi behind her window, talking to something. Not a person. Something. It was the housemaid from Flat 4D who said it. She said she saw Mama Kemi kneeling, facing the wall, talking in a strange voice to an empty chair. And the chair was rocking itself. When they asked her, Mama Kemi laughed. She said she was praying. Binding village people. And that was when the real fear started in the compound. That was the woman we all thought had life sweet like sugar. Mama Kemi. The one who now, today, nobody dares to mention too loud. Because what happened after? What we all saw. It was not the kind of thing you wash away with holy water. It started small. It always does. After those first few weeks, it became clear the plumber was not just fixing taps anymore. His name was Connor. But nobody in the compound called him that. We called him the plumber boy. At first, he still pretended. He would show up with his big red toolbox, knock on Mama Kemi's door, and bend like he was greeting her. She would laugh loudly from inside and shout, "Door they open, my dear." Then he would slip inside. The door would close. And the noises would start. Heavy dragging sounds. Laughing. Sometimes a loud thud, like something heavy falling. Sometimes, soft moaning sounds that made even the old women in the compound cough and hiss. At first, people talked in whispers. But after some time, they didn't bother hiding it again. Even the landlord, poor Sunday, one afternoon when he was drunk, said, "That plumber boy they screw her like say him they tighten pipe." The thing that made everything worse was, the plumber stopped going home. One hot Thursday afternoon, he came with a small Ghana must-go bag. Small one, maybe just shirts and boxers. He dropped it inside Mama Kemi's flat like he owned the place. From that day, he started staying over. Day and night. No shame. We would see him washing his boxers outside on Sunday mornings, whistling like a man that just got a promotion. Sometimes he would be shirtless, rubbing his chest like he wanted all the compound women to see the muscles. And Mama Kemi. She glowed even more. New weaves. New clothes. New anklets that jingled like wedding bells. Some nights, they would even sit outside together, drinking small stouts and laughing at jokes nobody else understood. One night, Mama Grace shook her head and said under her breath, "That woman will turn the house into a brothel." Still, nobody talked to her directly. You dare not. But small, strange things started happening in the compound. It wasn't normal things. It was weird things. Mr. and Mrs. Atkins' generator caught fire one night, without warning. Boom! Flames everywhere. The fire tried to spread, but somehow, it stopped right before it could touch Mama Kemi's flat. Another time, small Aya turned, the hawker girl, said she saw two people inside the plumber boy's window late at night. But she said one of them had no face. Just a black, empty space where the face should be. People started sleeping with a Bible under their pillows. Some sprinkled anointing oil on their doors. Yet, every night, if you listened closely, you would still hear soft tapping sounds. Like someone hammering nails inside flat 2B at 2 a.m. Tap, tap, tap. Then one morning, we all woke up to find something on Mama Kemi's door. A dead black cat. Big one, lying stiff on its side. Mouth wide open like it died screaming. Somebody had nailed it to the wooden door with a big rusty nail through its stomach. Nobody admitted to doing it. The compound caretaker, Musa, swore on his grandfather's grave he didn't know who did it. When Mama Kemi came outside and saw it, she just laughed. Long, loud, wicked laugh that made the skin on my neck crawl. She didn't cry. She didn't panic. She pulled the nail out with her bare hands, flung the dead cat into the gutter, and went back inside like nothing happened. That was the day people started calling her age. Witch. Not to her face, of course. Only behind closed doors. One afternoon, I was sitting outside peeling oranges when I saw something that made me almost throw up. Connell, the plumber boy, was standing at the side of the house, peeing against the wall. But the pee wasn't normal. It was thick. Red. Like blood mixed with water. He didn't even look embarrassed when he saw me staring. He just zipped up slowly, smiled wide, too wide, and walked back to Mama Kemi's flat. That night, I couldn't sleep. Even after I prayed. Even after I recited Psalm 91 3 times. Something was wrong. Not just a small wrong. Big wrong. And still, nobody told Mr. Ko. His wife had become another man's toy. His house had become a demon's playground. But he was far away. Selling car engines in Dubai, in Malaysia, wherever money called him. We were all just waiting for the day it would explode. Deep down, everybody knew something bad was coming. And when it finally came, it didn't just come for Mama Kemi. It came for all of us. It started slowly. At first, it was just small things you could ignore if you tried hard enough. Footsteps at night. Not heavy footsteps like a human being. Light ones. Like somebody walking barefoot, dragging one leg behind them. The first night I heard it, I thought it was a rat. But rats don't wear anklets. And that's what I heard, the jingling sound of anklets moving slowly outside my door around 3 a.m. I froze in bed. Didn't even breathe. The sound moved from my door to Mama Ifeoma's window, then to the back of the compound where the generator house was. Soft. Dragging. Jingling. Nobody else mentioned it the next day. Maybe they were scared to talk. Or maybe, like me, they were hoping it would just stop if we pretended not to notice. But it didn't stop. It got worse. A week later, wrappers started disappearing. Women would hang their wrappers on the line to dry, colorful Ankara, lace materials, expensive George wrappers, and by morning, 1 or 2 would be gone. Nobody caught anyone. No footprints. No clues. Just wrappers, gone. At first, they blamed Musa the caretaker. Then some said it was area boys jumping the fence. But then strange things started happening to the women whose wrappers got missing. Madam Grace, the landlord's wife, was the first. She woke up one morning with bruises all over her arms and legs. Big purple marks like somebody beat her with koboko all night. She swore she didn't fall. She swore she didn't fight with her husband. Yet the marks were there. Next was Ayatond, the old pepper seller. Her mouth twisted to one side overnight. She woke up unable to talk properly, saliva dripping down her chin. Doctor said it was stroke. But we knew better. You can't steal wrapper from a spirit and expect to sleep well. One Sunday morning, after the landlord finished shouting about the wrappers and how he would call police, Madam Ifeoma stood up in the middle of the compound meeting and said something I will never forget. She pointed her finger straight at flat 2B and said, "No their owner where they come from. As long as we dey pretend, he go chop all of us one by one." Nobody answered her. Nobody clapped. Nobody even nodded. We just kept quiet, heads bowed, as if the sound on the ground suddenly became interesting. Because deep down, we knew she was right. But who would dare say it to Mama Kemi's face? After that meeting, things got darker. The plumber boy stopped greeting anybody. Before, he used to wave, wink, flex his muscles like a village champion. Now, he just walks straight, as cold like something that had forgotten how to be human. One evening, small Emeka from flat 1A threw a stone by mistake into Mama Kemi's window while playing ball. 5 minutes later, the boy fainted. Right there in the middle of the compound. No sickness. No warning. Just boom, body hit ground. They carried him inside, poured water, prayed and prayed. He woke up later, crying and saying he saw a black man with no eyes chasing him. After that, no child in the compound dared to play ball near flat 2B again. And the noises inside that flat, they grew louder. More strange. Not just footsteps anymore. Now it was dragging sounds. Furniture being pushed. Chains clanking. Sometimes, laughter. But not human laughter. Laughter that sounded like metal grinding against stone. Rough, sharp, painful to hear. Even Musa, the strong caretaker who used to boast he was never scared of anything, moved out of his small room at the back of the compound and went to live with his brother across town. When they asked him why, he said only 2 words. "Them they call me." That's all. No explanation. Just them they call me. Me, I started sleeping with one eye open. I started lighting candles at night. I started praying the way my grandmother taught me, sitting in the middle of my room, back straight, candle in front of me, Psalm 23 whispered until my throat went dry. Because by now, it was clear. Flat 2B was no longer just a house. It had become a gate. And something bad was passing through it. Something we didn't have the strength to fight. And yet, even with all these things happening, even with rappers disappearing, even with children fainting, even with laughter that sounded like a dying machine, Mama Kemi still smiled. Still walked around the compound with her head high. Still wore her tight wrappers, her gold bangles, her perfume that smelled like mangoes and rain. As if nothing was wrong. As if she was proud. As if she was daring us to say something. But we didn't. Because we were afraid. Too afraid. And deep down, we all knew something heavy was building. Something big. Something final. And when it broke, it would wash away more than just rappers. It happened on a Friday night. I will never forget that day until I leave this world. There was no Nipple light, as usual. The whole compound was dark, quiet, only the sound of frogs croaking in the gutter and mosquitoes buzzing like tiny devils. I was hungry that night. I had been too tired to cook earlier, so around 1 a.m., I went quietly into the kitchen to find biscuit or maybe cold EBA. Something, anything to kill the hunger. My kitchen was at the back of the house, facing the small backyard that led to Flat 2B. Normally, I would switch on the kitchen bulb. But that night, I was too lazy. I just moved in the darkness, using the little light from the moon outside. I opened the cupboard, found a packet of cabin biscuits, and started chewing slowly. That's when I heard it. A soft sound. Like someone crying. At first, I thought it was a cat. But no cat cries like that, full of pain, like the person was trying to hold back the sound but couldn't. I moved to the window without thinking. The kitchen window was always left open because of heat. I stood there, half curious, half scared, peeping into the backyard. What I saw made my mouth go dry instantly. There was a big black pot on the ground behind Flat 2B. Not a cooking pot. Not a soup pot. This one was strange, tall like a drum, blackened with smoke, and shining under the moonlight like it was oily. And kneeling beside it, wearing only a thin wrapper that barely covered her body, was Mama Kemi. Her back was turned to me, but I could see her whole body moving like she was sobbing, shoulders shaking, head bent low to the pot. Standing behind her was the plumber boy. But he didn't look normal anymore. He was naked. Completely naked. His skin was covered with something dark, looked like ashes mixed with palm oil. He was holding a small goat in his hands. The goat was alive, weak, kicking slowly, crying that same soft cry I had heard. Without even blinking, the plumber boy lifted the goat over the black pot. And then, he sliced its throat. Just like that. Blood sprayed everywhere. Some of it splashed on Mama Kemi's back. She didn't even move. She just kept kneeling there, whispering words I couldn't hear. The goat's body dropped limp into the pot with a heavy sound, plop, and the plumber boy started chanting. I don't know how long I stood there, frozen, staring. It was like my legs forgot how to move. Then, the worst thing happened. Mama Kemi lifted her head slowly, and turned around. Her face. Her face was not like a normal face anymore. Her eyes were pitch black, no white, no brown, just pure black like tar. Her mouth was smiling too wide, too sharp, almost splitting her cheeks. And somehow, she knew I was watching. She didn't blink. She didn't shout. She just pointed one long, bony finger straight at me. Straight at my window. At me. My whole body went cold. I stumbled back from the window so fast I knocked over a plate on the counter. It crashed loudly to the floor, but I didn't care. I ran back to my room, locked the door, pushed my bed and my table against it, and crawled under the blanket, shaking like a leaf. I didn't sleep that night. Not even 1 second. Every small sound made me jump. Every shadow looked like her black eyes staring at me. In the morning, I forced myself to act normal. I didn't want anyone to know what I saw. I didn't even want to believe it myself. But when I passed by flat 2B on my way out, something caught my eye. There was a small trail of blood, dried now, leading from the backyard to the front door. And on the wall beside the door, someone had drawn something with what looked like red chalk. It was a symbol, a circle with 3 lines crossing through it. I didn't know what it meant. But it made my stomach turn just looking at it. The whole day, I felt like I was being watched. At the market. At the bus stop. Even inside my own room. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that black pot. I saw the goat kicking. I saw Mama Kemi smile. That night, I locked every window, every door. I prayed and prayed until my mouth was dry. But deep down, I knew it was too late. I had seen what I was not supposed to see. And whatever was inside that pot, whatever they were calling that night, it had seen me too. That was the night everything changed for me. The night I realized. This was not about gossip anymore. Not about stolen wrappers. Not about noisy sex and broken marriages. This was about something darker. Something old. Something patient. Something that was now looking for new people to swallow. And somehow, I had been noticed. The next morning, I stayed in bed for a long time. Longer than usual. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to talk. I just laid there, blanket over my head, trying to forget what I saw through that kitchen window. But the fear was like pepper in my eyes, sharp, burning, impossible to wash out. I knew I couldn't hide forever. Around noon, somebody knocked on my door. Soft knock. 3 times. I froze. At first, I thought it was them, Mama Kemi or the plumber boy, coming for me. Coming to silence me. My heart almost jumped out of my chest. I tiptoed to the door, didn't make a sound, and peeped through the small hole. It was Madame Ifeoma. She stood there, wearing her old faded Ankara blouse, her wrapper tied tightly around her waist. She was holding something in her hand, a small leather pouch. I opened the door a crack. Not wide, just small enough to show my face. She pushed the door wider with her shoulder and slipped inside without waiting for permission. Locked it behind her. Then she turned to me and said in a voice I had never heard from her before. Low, serious, like the voice of a grave digger. You saw them, didn't you? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. She already knew. She sat down heavily on my bed and looked at me with tired eyes. Listen well, she said. Because if you miss one word, you fit no wake up tomorrow morning. I sat down too, my mouth dry, my hands shaking. She opened the leather pouch and pulled out 3 things. A small Bible. A dirty white handkerchief. A piece of dry kola nut, cracked into 2 halves. She placed them on the bed between us like sacred items. Then she began to talk. That thing you saw last night. She said, eyes fixed on me, it no be today it start. Long time ago, in our forefathers' days, some women, when them no fit wait for husband again, them go find shortcut. Them go use blood charm, something way they feed them better love, better money, better body. But the price no dey cheap. She picked up the kola nut and turned it slowly in her hand. When you do blood charm, you must feed it. Every full moon. Animal blood first. Goat. Chicken. Small things. But when the spirit done big finish, when it done chop well, she leaned closer, lowering her voice, ego begin ask for human blood. My throat went dry. The plumber boy. He no be ordinary plumber again. He don't turn to handler, assistant, slave. And the worst part, she said, pointing one long finger at me. Once you see them feed the pot, you don't join the pot. Whether you like 'em or not, your name don't dey inside. I felt my stomach twist. I wanted to vomit. Why me? I whispered, voice cracking. I didn't do anything. Madam Ifeoma shook her head slowly. Spirit no dey care whether you innocent. No I wey see, mouth wey talk, spirit dey fear. You don't see them. You fit expose them. You fit break their feeding. So now, she tapped the Bible and the kola nut, you no threat. If you no protect yourself. She said, you go disappear. Disappear how? I asked, my body shaking badly now. She shrugged. Sometimes body go smell first before person even die. Sometimes person go just walk enter bush, nobody go see am again. Sometimes madness. No two ways. One spirit mark you, only blood or stronger spirit fit clean am. I sat there, numb, not knowing what to do. What should I do now? I asked. Madam Ifeoma smiled sadly. Like somebody who had seen too many deaths and knew some things were bigger than prayer alone. First thing, she said, no look their window again. No answer if them knock. No collect anything from their hand. Even ordinary water, no take. Second thing, she lifted the small Bible, sleep with this Bible under your pillow. Every night. Third thing, she pushed the kola nut toward me, put this kola nut under your bed. If you wake and see I'm broken, or missing, run. Just run. No pack load. No tell neighbor. Just run. I nodded, even though my hands were too weak to hold anything. Last thing, she said, standing up, no talk about what you saw to anybody. Anybody at all. Until, she paused, her voice low, until the pot break. How will I know if the pot breaks? I asked. She looked at me with eyes that had no hope. You go hear the scream. The scream go shake your bone. The scream go make you know that the owner of the pot don't finally pay the real price. She tucked the leather pouch back under her wrapper, pulled the door open, and paused. One more thing, she said without looking back. If you ever dream say them they call your name, no answer. Then she left. Just like that. Leaving me alone with a cracked kola nut, an old Bible, and fear sitting heavy on my chest. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake, clutching the Bible so hard my fingers hurt. Watching the shadows dance on the walls. Listening for any sound, a footstep, a knock, a whisper. But the house stayed quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that presses on your lungs until you can barely breathe. I prayed and prayed. But even prayer felt thin, weak. Because somewhere out there, the black pot was waiting. And now, it knew my name. It was 2 weeks after Madam Ifeoma came to my room. 2 weeks of heavy silence. 2 weeks of no eye contact in the compound. 2 weeks of sleeping with Bible under my pillow and the kola nut under my bed. Nothing strange had happened again. For a while, I almost convinced myself that maybe the worst was over. Maybe the pot had forgotten about me. Maybe, just maybe, life could go back to normal. I was wrong. Dead wrong. It started on a Tuesday night. Rain had been falling since afternoon. The kind of heavy rain that turns the whole street into a river. By 11 p.m., everywhere was dark. The gutters were overflowing. Frogs were singing their ugly songs. Mosquitoes biting through even thick wrappers. I was lying on my bed, dozing off, when I heard it. Soft singing. Very soft. A woman's voice, humming a song I didn't know. At first, I thought it was my neighbor's wife, maybe rocking her baby. But the sound didn't match any normal lullaby. It was slow, sweet, but also very sad. Almost hungry. I sat up in bed, heart thumping. The singing was coming from outside. From the backyard. From flat 2B. I wanted to stay in bed. I really did. But something, curiosity, fear, or maybe foolishness, pushed me to get up. To move quietly to the kitchen window. Again. Just like the night I saw the pot. I told myself, just one look. Just small peep. Then you run back to bed. I moved the curtain with 2 fingers and looked out. And what I saw almost made me scream. There, in the backyard, standing under the cold rain, was Mama Kemi. Naked. Not a single thread on her body. Standing inside a big black basin filled with water. The plumber boy stood beside her, holding something that looked like a giant sponge made of leaves. He dipped it into a small clay pot and started scrubbing her body. Hard. From her head to her toes. Scrubbing like he was washing blood off her skin. And the water. The water was not clean. It was black. Thick. Slimy. Each time he poured more water from the clay pot onto her, the ground hissed, SSSSS, like something hot touching cold metal. Mama Kemi didn't move. Didn't flinch. She just stood there, eyes closed, humming that same sad, slow song. Then she started talking. At first, I couldn't hear the words over the rain. But soon, I realized it wasn't English. It wasn't Yoruba. It wasn't any language I had ever heard. It was something older. Something that made the hair on my arms stand straight up. The plumber boy started answering her in the same strange tongue. They were talking back and forth like people bargaining in a dark market. I didn't understand the words. But I understood the feeling. They were calling something. Begging it. Praising it. Inviting it. And it was coming. Suddenly, the backyard air changed. It got cold. So cold that my teeth started chattering even though my window was still closed. I backed away from the window, slowly. Careful not to make noise. But before I could reach my bed, I heard it. A knock. Not on the door. Not on the window. On the wall. The wall beside my bed. 3 slow knocks. Pom. 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 I froze. Heart hammering. Hands shaking. Another knock. Pom. 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 This time, closer. Almost like something was moving inside the walls. I grabbed my Bible from under my pillow and held it tight to my chest. I closed my eyes and started praying. Fast. Desperate. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. Again and again and again. The knocking stopped. The singing stopped. Even the rain seemed to stop. For a few seconds, there was just silence. Heavy. Dead. Choking. Then I heard something that made me almost wet myself. A whisper. Right beside my ear. Soft. Sweet. Wrong. Come and bath too. I screamed. I screamed so loud I thought my throat would tear. I jumped off the bed and ran straight to the main door. Unlocked it. Flew into the corridor barefoot, Bible still in hand. Other neighbors came out too, doors swinging open, people shouting. Some carried torchlights, some held knives, some just came out screaming. The whole compound turned into chaos. Somebody grabbed me, Madam Ifeoma. She held me tight, pulled me to her flat, locked her door. Inside, I fell to the ground, crying like a baby. Later, when I could talk, I told Madam Ifeoma everything. She didn't even look surprised. She just nodded slowly. The bidding now renewal, she said. Every blood pot need new washing. To stay strong. To stay fresh. Tonight, them mark you proper. If you stay here another night, you no go survive. She packed her things immediately. Told me to do the same. We didn't wait for morning. By 3 a.m., we were gone. Out of that compound. Out of that street. Running from the smell of blood. Running from the whisper behind the wall. Running from the thing inside the pot. But even now, I still hear the voice sometimes. Soft. Sweet. Come and bath too. It happened 3 days after I ran away from the compound. The rain hadn't stopped since that night. The streets were muddy. The gutters were full. The whole area smelled like wet dogs and dead rats. I was staying with my cousin in another part of town, trying to forget everything. Trying to pretend the world was still normal. Then the call came. Musa the caretaker. His voice was shaking. His words were broken. He don't come back. He said. Oga Ko don't come back. And Wala don't burst. I didn't want to hear the story. Every part of me wanted to throw the phone away and pretend it wasn't my business anymore. But I listened. And this was what Musa told me. That morning, without warning, a black Prado Jeep drove into the compound. Mr. Cole was back. Nobody expected him. No call. No message. Nothing. He just showed up, bags full of gifts, new phones, perfumes, expensive watches, ready to surprise his wife. He had been gone for almost 6 months this time. 6 long months. He parked under the big mango tree like he always did. Stepped out, smiling. Greeting neighbors who stared at him with wide eyes, too shocked to say anything. Musa said he felt something cold crawl down his back the moment he saw Mr. Cole step into the compound. Like death had entered quietly wearing designer shoes. Mr. Cole climbed up to flat 2B, carrying 2 shopping bags. He knocked once. Twice. No answer. He laughed and shook his head. This woman don't go market, ABI salon. He said it loud, joking. He opened the door with his spare key. And walked inside. What he saw inside made him scream. A deep, heavy scream that Musa said sounded like a man tearing his own soul apart. It dragged every neighbor out of their flats. People ran outside. Some ran into the streets. Nobody wanted to stay close to that flat after that scream. Not even the brave ones. But Musa. Poor Musa. He peeped through the living room window. And what he saw? He said he will never unsee it till the day he dies. Inside the parlor, the floor was soaked. Not with water. Not with rain. With blood. The whole room, the chairs, the center table, even the curtains, all splashed and dripping with thick, black-red blood. In the middle of the parlor, sitting naked on the floor, smiling up at Mr. Cole like a child waiting for candy, was Mama Kemi. Her body was covered in cuts. Fresh cuts. Hundreds of tiny slashes. Like something had used razor blades to write all over her skin. And beside her, kneeling, head bowed, was the plumber boy. Also naked. Also bleeding from his eyes, nose, and ears. Both of them humming the same sad song. The same one I heard that night. At first, Mr. Cole stood frozen. Then he dropped the shopping bags. Then he started shouting. Kemi! Kemi, wetin be this? Kemi, who do you this thing? He rushed to her, tried to pull her up. That was when the worst thing happened. Musa said the moment Mr. Cole touched her, her head snapped up, too fast, too sharp, and she sank her teeth deep into his neck. Bit him hard. Like an animal. Mr. Cole screamed, blood spraying from his throat. He pushed her away, stumbled back, but it was too late. The plumber boy rose up too, eyes blank, blood dripping from his mouth. Both of them started moving toward him. Slow. Steady. Smiling. Nobody knows how Mr. Cole managed to escape. Some say he jumped from the first floor balcony and broke his leg. Some say he fought them off with pure panic strength. All we know is that he made it out of the flat, bleeding, screaming, half mad. He ran into the compound barefoot, holding his neck, shouting words nobody understood. Neighbors scattered. Some locked their doors. Some climbed fences. Musa called police. But by the time the police came, flat 2B was empty. Totally empty. No Mama Kemi. No plumber boy. No blood. No sign of struggle. Just silence. The pot was gone too. The only thing left behind was a small handprint on the wall near the door. A small handprint. Made entirely of dried blood. And underneath it, scratched into the wood with fingernails. He is ours now. Mr. Cole was taken to hospital. He survived. But they said he never spoke properly again. Just sat in a wheelchair all day, drooling, sometimes whispering the same words over and over. He called me. He called me. He called me. The doctors said it was a trauma. We knew better. We knew the spirit had marked him. The same way it tried to mark me. After that day, flat 2B was locked forever. The landlord didn't even bother trying to rent it out. Nobody even dared to touch the door. Rumors spread like fire. That the pot was still buried under the parlor floor. That sometimes, at night, you could still hear the plumber boy singing inside. That if you slept too close to the wall, you would dream of blood and wake up with your sheets wet. Nobody stayed in that compound longer than 6 months after that. Nobody. As for me, I never went back. Not even to collect my balance from the landlord. Some things are not worth dying for. And once you see the black pot, once you hear the song, you never really come back. After the day Mr. Cole ran mad, everybody thought it was over. People packed out of the compound. The landlord traveled to his village and never came back. The windows of flat 2B stayed shut. The whole place became quiet like a graveyard. But evil doesn't stay in one place. It moves. It follows. And I found out the hard way. The first night I noticed it, I was staying in my cousin's house, 2 streets away. I had locked every door, every window, just like Madam Ifeoma taught me. Slept with Bible under my pillow. Kola not under the bed. At around 2 a.m., I woke up feeling very cold. Not normal cold. Cold inside my bones. The room was dark. Too dark. Even though I left the small hallway bulb on, somehow no light entered my room. It felt heavy. Like something was sitting on my chest. I tried to move, but my body refused. It was like I was glued to the mattress. Then I heard it. The same humming. Soft. Sweet. Deadly. The same song Mama Kemi sang that night in the rain. I started crying. Silent tears running down my face. I knew what was happening. I had been marked. And now, it had come to finish its work. The humming got louder. Closer. Then, I saw it. A shadow. Standing at the foot of my bed. Tall. Wrong. Head touching the ceiling. It was not fully human. It had arms too long. Fingers like spider legs. Its mouth stretched across its face in a way that no human mouth should. And it was smiling. The thing raised one hand slowly. Pointed at me. And whispered my name. Soft. Mocking. Chidi. Chidi, come and bath. I squeezed my eyes shut. Held the Bible tighter. Started reciting Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. The shadow didn't move. Just stood there. Watching. Waiting. The room stank, like rotten meat and burnt hair. I kept praying. Again. 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 Until suddenly, the shadow began to melt. Slowly. Like smoke. The coldness lifted. The light bulb outside flickered once, then twice, then came back on. And the thing was gone. I didn't sleep again that night. Or the next. Or the next. I knew what it wanted. It wanted me to open my eyes. To open my heart. To open myself to it. One mistake, one small mistake, and it would enter. I stopped staying in one place for too long. Today I was at my cousin's. Tomorrow, my auntie's. Next week, my friend's place across town. Always moving. Always watching my shadow. Because the thing followed. It didn't need the pot anymore. It had tasted me. And it wanted the full meal. I started noticing other things too. My reflection in mirrors would sometimes move when I was still. Small things around me, my comb, my toothbrush, would disappear and show up in strange places. I would hear my name being called inside crowded markets. Softly. Just by my ear. Chidi. Everywhere I went, I carried the Bible and kola nut. It became my weapon. My shield. But even shields wear thin over time. One evening, I went to visit Musa, the old caretaker. He was staying with his sister in another neighborhood now. When I reached there, I found a small crowd outside his house. People crying. Musa was dead. Found hanging from a rope tied to the ceiling fan. His face twisted in fear. No sign of struggle. No suicide note. Just a mark on the wall beside his body. A handprint. Small. Made of dried blood. That night, I didn't just pray. I begged. Begged God. Begged my ancestors. Begged anybody listening. Please, please, don't let it take me. But deep down, I knew. The thing doesn't forget. It doesn't forgive. It just follows. The dreams got worse. In my sleep, I would find myself back in flat 2B. Standing in the backyard. Facing the black pot. The plumber boy and Mama Kemi standing behind me, humming. The pot would bubble. The smell of blood would fill my nose. And a voice, the spirit's voice, would whisper from inside the pot. Bath and be free. Bath and be ours. Each time I would wake up sweating, shivering, crying. I knew my time was running out. If I didn't do something. Sooner or later. I would answer. And once I answered. There would be no coming back. People think when you run from evil, you are safe. But some things stick to you. Some curses are like shadows. They don't care how fast you run. They just wait. Patiently. Until the day you finally trip. And fall. That's when they catch you. That's when you finally bath. In the blood you tried so hard to avoid. The last time I saw that compound was a few months after Musa died. By then, the whole place was abandoned. Grass grew wild across the small courtyard. Broken windows. Cracked walls. The big mango tree at the front was dry, its branches like dead arms reaching for nothing. Nobody dared to move in. Not even mad people slept near that place. The landlord's family tried selling it once, cheap price, almost for free, but anytime someone came to inspect, they would leave running. Some said they saw faces at the windows. Some said they heard knocking from inside the walls. Some just felt a hand grab their ankles and refused to ever speak about it. The compound became a ghost. Dead but still breathing. Waiting. Then came the night of the final scream. The night everybody talks about till today. It was a Sunday night. Hot. No wind. No rain. The whole street was quiet. Except, from flat to B. Somebody was singing. Softly. The same old song. The blood song. The song that asked you to bath. At first, people ignored it. Pretended it was the wind. Nobody wanted to remember the past. Nobody wanted to admit the horror wasn't finished. Then, around 1 a.m., it happened. A scream. Not a normal scream. Not even like Mr. Cole's scream that day. This one was wrong. It was like 100 voices screaming at the same time, inside the same throat. Men. Women. Children. All howling together. The sound blasted through the street, shaking windows, cracking mirrors. Dogs started barking wildly. Car alarms went off. Babies woke up crying. Old people fell to their knees, clutching their chest. Young men ran to the mosque and church, banging on the doors, begging for prayers. The scream lasted for almost 3 minutes. 3 long, bleeding minutes. Then, silence. Heavy silence. Like even the earth itself was holding its breath. Nobody slept that night. Nobody dared even peep from their windows. Everybody just sat, frozen, praying in their hearts, waiting for morning. When dawn came, a few brave men gathered. They carried cutlasses, Bible, Quran, palm fronds. They marched to the compound, hearts pounding. Kicking the gate open, they stepped into the dead yard. The air was thick. Smelled like iron and old firewood. They climbed the staircase to flat 2B. The door was wide open. Swinging slowly, creaking like an old woman laughing. Inside. Nothing. No furniture. No bodies. No pot. Just walls. But on those walls, written in something dark, maybe blood, maybe worse, were hundreds and hundreds of handprints. Small. Medium. Large. Covering every inch. And at the center of the parlor floor, a single collar knot. Cracked perfectly in half. They didn't touch anything. Didn't even breathe too hard. They ran. And the government came later, sealed the building with red tape, wrote big warnings on the gate. Danger, do not enter. But even without the sign, nobody would have dared. Nobody. Not after the final scream. Some say it was the spirit claiming its last victim. Some say it was Mama Kemi finally paying the full price. Some say the plumber boy became something else entirely, and now guards the gate between this world and the next. Me? I don't know. I just know I still dream about it. Sometimes, in my sleep, I find myself standing at the entrance of flat 2B. The door open. The darkness inside calling me. The smell of blood sweet and heavy in my nose. And that voice. That soft, dangerous voice. Whispering. Come and bath. Come and bath. When I wake up, the first thing I do is touch my Bible. Check under the bed for the collar knot. If it's still whole, I breathe. If it's cracked, I pack my things and move to a new house. I don't take chances anymore. Because some things don't die. Some things just wait. Wait for you to forget. Wait for you to make one small mistake. Wait for you to open the door. And when you do, when you finally answer the call, there will be no warning. No escape. Just the cold. The darkness. And the pot waiting for you. Full and hungry.